молодь, яка здатна створити новий вільний медіапростір. Мова спілкування протягом усієї конференції – українська та англійська. Для вашої зручності усі 3 дні з вами будуть працювати наші найкращі перекладачі. А отже, ми починаємо. Історії правлять світом людей. Адже що може бути спільного у героїв «Гри престолів» Річарда Фарсона та вашої бабусі? Звісно, це історії. Створити і подати свою історію кожному. Так, щоб її побачили, почули, зрозуміли та запам'ятали назавжди. У фото, відео, голосом і навіть поглядом. Все можливо. На нашій міжнародній діджитал-конференції ми розкриємо секрети, як створювати історії на мільйони для мільйонів. І просто зараз наші перші спікери Ангела, Кеа та Гіфер розкажуть про те, як розвинути у собі креативність, як навчитися вирізнятися з-поміж інших, але при цьому не
Andreas Giefer will share how to use creativity in order to show yourself.
Giefer here next to me in this small window.
Angela, hi.
And my
Andy,
even
hello.
more
I'm
lovely
so
colleague,
glad
Angela
to hear
Key.
you and to see you today. I'm sure
Я
that
така
this
рада
is
вас
the
сьогодні
best time
бачити.
of our webinar.
Я
As
гадаю,
experts
що
in
це
creativity,
найкращий
creative
початок для нашого
creative
вебінару,
editing
оскільки
and
це такі
journalism.
спікери, які
I'm
мають
sure that you have
дуже
so
багатий
much to
досвід
tell
у
and to
журналістиці
do.
та роботи в
So,
медіа. Я
please
гадаю, що
start.
ви зможете з нами поділитися такими
great.
секретами,
So again,
що
hello
ми
from
будемо в
Berlin
захваті.
and Bonn. So I
Тому
don't
будемо
know if you could hear
починати.
us,
О,
before. So
привіт,
that's
привіт.
my colleague, next
Мої
to me in
вітання
this
з
window.
Бони. І я не знаю, чи ви можете мене добре
Yeah, my name
чути
is
зараз.
Angela.
Так, мене звати
Both
Анджела,
we
і
run the Deutsche
ми
Welle Lab,
працюємо в
and,
Deutsche
how we
Welle
at the
Lab,
Deutsche Welle Lab,
і
among other in-house initiatives, promote creativity among our colleagues. That's what we'd like to talk about in the next few minutes.
This
Yes,
is
and also
super.
hello
We
from
are
me.
really
I'm
very
Andy,
excited.
calling in from Bonn in West Germany, and we'd like to start with giving you a small insight in what kind of projects we do at the lab at Deutsche Welle. And over the last 2.5 years, we did about 40 projects, and here are some of them. So here's, for example, a quiz bot that we developed. We also obviously looked at TikTok with our students. We did some dance performance. Here we were looking at personalized apps.
You're watching this video, listen to it, or read it. Each article is expandable.
Augmented reality, we had 3 augmented reality projects. You see us here producing in our lab and projecting the images we did on a virtual wall. Here, this is like a technology we tested for a story on the Stasi prison in East Germany. As you can see here, vertical video.
He returns to give tours of his former prison and educate the public about what took place here.
Virtual reality, of course, also in the lab. This First World War seen through the eyes of a child. Voting companion. So this was a project we did with our Brazilian department just before the elections 2 years ago.
Hi, this is Mary's Adventure. Are you ready for a quiz?
So this is smart speakers. You see we do some programming. We bring in colleagues from our technical departments to do programming. We did digital assistants like Google Assistant here. So it's quite a variety of projects, and we always sort of combine technology and journalism together. Not all of these projects are actually being published. That's really part of the lab's principle, that we take decisions in several stages before moving on to spend a lot of money. But let's continue.
So what are we doing exactly at the DW Lab? So since May 2017, Andy has shown you some of them. So we did approximately 40 projects, and we do projects actually in Bonn and Berlin on both locations, in both cities Deutsche Welle is located. And our projects are usually a combination of journalism and technology, as Andy said, and we always try to find new ways of storytelling, new technology we haven't explored yet, and that is our goal, to bring those both disciplines together, journalism and technology. Basically, everyone from Deutsche Welle can participate in our lab projects, and actually that's very essential for us. And over 100 employees of Deutsche Welle participate in projects so far. So, and it doesn't matter if he or she is a journalist, a technical expert, working in marketing or administration, everybody is welcome.
Usually our projects last 5 days, 5 to 10 days, so 1 to 2 weeks. And we found this to be a good rhythm to develop an initial idea to a prototype that we can show to others before taking the decision to go into the next project phase. The ideas get into the lab via something we called an ideation day. So it's one day which is similar to a hackathon, where we gather people together from all over the house to develop the ideas, which are then presented to a jury. They then take the decision what gets into the lab. And we did something like this a few months ago for the Deutsche Welle Academy in Chisinau in Moldova. And we'd like to show you a video on what this looked like. So let's roll the video.
So we brought in different participants, formed teams with them. And they, of course, we gave them our process. So they experienced the process we usually do at our in-house ideation days. So, they worked for a day, I guess. And then, of course, at the very end, they had to pitch their idea to a jury. And that was a fun event, as you can see here. A big stage. And of course, at the very end, one team won a prize. And I guess actually one idea was already was further developed. So we will tell you more about the challenge we gave the teams during that ideation day process. So what creativity methods do we use at the DW Lab? Before we show you some of them, let me explain what we believe is creativity. So for us, creativity is the ability to solve a problem or to master a challenge by doing something new in an unusual way, and maybe also to break out from some common patterns and thoughts you might have, and to explore new perspectives. And creativity methods, we think, can help by generating new ideas and ways. So some of you might now think that everybody can be creative. or has a creative potential, but that has to be activated. And therefore, creativity methods are quite helpful. We also think that creativity is a process. That means an idea is found through a sequence of different steps. And we would now like to show you some of the methods we use at the lab. Of course, there are like more out there, but this is like our way we do it. And Andy, I would say, let's start with some concrete methods, and you are very welcome to test them out, maybe during this conference or like in further projects you might work on.
So we usually start with a challenge, and the challenge is actually the idea is a concrete question that we ask, and it needs to be good and focused questions. So this is the starting point for our process, and we can show you an example here. That's actually the challenge we set to our participants at the ideation day at Moldova, and it was, how might we conceive cross-border projects in the field of media and information literacy so that people in the countries of Ukraine, Kyrgyzstan, Georgia, and Moldova work closer together. And note two things here, that we don't actually give hints to any solutions that might be involved, or actually also hints at technologies that might be used to solve that problem. So it needs to be an open question that is not limiting the creativity.
And then next step, after the teams got their challenge, we ask them to think about their persona. So what is let's say like a persona is a group of person, a customer or a user, and we ask our teams, so think about who do you would like to target with your idea or with your project. And we usually start by or with statistic and research. So our users are based on statistic and research, and sometimes we also do interviews or observations at the beginning of that process, so that we actually talk to real users and ask them, so what is your behavior? What do you expect from something? What do you need? And although a persona is fictional, it helps the team to get on the same page, to build empathy with the user, and also to step in their shoes and to understand their needs and wishes. So here you can see the template we gave the teams during the ideation day, the Idea Lab in Moldova. So usually we start with the photo, and then of course, like the persona needs to be more concrete by giving them a name, age, where he or she lives, what's the job and education looks like, and of course to make them more real, you give them kind of a personality. Is this person more introverted, extroverted, analytical or creative? And then also think about interests and goals this person might have. Also the media habits. Is he or she watching still news, or what kind of platform is this persona using? So think really about their habits, and of course about their daily routine. So in what kind of situation is this person using X, Y, Z? And of course, very important, as I said, think about their needs. Really try to make empathy. Does this person needs to get more information based on your challenge, or would like to exchange with others? So really think about needs and wishes and dive deep into this person. Try actually to feel this person. So this is like the we would say the idea planning phase. So, and then the next phase is coming.
Next phase, we now know the challenge, we now know the persona that we're targeting, and the next step is to open ourselves up to. So you collect as many ideas as possible, and a good method for that, one we use frequently, is called brain dumping. And the essence of that is that you give participants these small post-its, you see them here on the photo, and ask them to write down anything that's on their mind as quickly as possible. So usually this is in 1 minute or maybe maximum 2 minutes, and they write and write and write. And we explicitly ask people not to censor themselves. That means anything that comes to mind is written down. Even you have an impulse to say, oh, this is actually a bad idea and I'm not going to write this down. No, write it down, because even bad ideas can contain good elements. The next, a second method we usually use, and we combine it with the first one. So after the first one, we do a second one called What Would Google Do? And again, people are asked to write down ideas on a piece of paper in 1 minute. But this time we asked them to think they were working for Google, so they have infinite resources. They have a lot of money. They have any engineers and any technologies at their disposition. Money is not an obstacle. So we taking away any limits that might be in that direction. So we go into the direction of possibility with these. So.
Yeah, and the third method we also quite often use is the trigger picture. So we gave them, our participant, a random picture or like a collage, like you can see here on the left side of our presentation. And then we ask our participant, so by looking at this picture and by having your challenge in mind and your person, does anything, you can also do it with random words by just giving the participant a word and say, okay, what comes to your mind actually by reading this word? What kind of idea you have? So of course, those are just like 3 creativity methods we like to use. And there are tons of methods out there. And you actually have to find out which work for you and what kind of methods you like. And you are very welcome to test those out or to test others out, which are out there. And of course, in this phase, Andy said that before, quantity matters. So as many ideas as possible, bring up as many ideas as possible in that phase. And then if you have generated a lot of ideas, not all of them might suitable for solving your challenge. And therefore, the question now in the next phase, in the selection phase, is to find the most promising idea. And one method, an easy one, and you might have heard about it, is the dot voting. And the dot voting is a simple method to evaluate ideas within a team. And each team member gets up to 5 sticky dots and can vote for his or her favorite idea. And at the very end, you know, the one idea with the most sticky dots is, of course, like the one idea that should be further developed. But this is like just like one way to select idea. Maybe like the one method that is more, you know, based on gut feelings. And we also try to make it more concrete. And for that, the next method might be more to get away from that gut feeling.
So on the background here, you see already sort of some strange charts, some squares that we use. And here's another picture of that. So this is actually a method that we use to support people, to help people take that decision when they're doing the dot voting. How can they judge whether an idea is complex or original? And this is exactly for this matrix, for what this matrix is for. We call it the Now, How, Wow, Chow matrix. And what you do essentially is you stick your post-its onto this chart, and on the horizontal axis you have the originality. So that means that the more original an idea is, the more on the right of the chart you place your post-it. If it's less original, it's on the left. And similarly, the vertical axis is the feasibility. So if something is difficult to create, it has a low feasibility, so it goes further down. And if something is easy to create, then it goes up because it's highly feasible. And so if you look at concretely here, you see we get actually 4 quadrants with the feasibility and originality. And for example, something that is very feasible but not very original, so that would be the lower right, is something where the team could decide if an idea is stuck there, it is an idea that is not that could be done now. So it's not very original, but at least it's easy to create. If something is hard to do, so it's not very feasible, and it's also not very original, these are probably the ideas that you wouldn't pursue further because they're not very attractive. So you say, ciao, goodbye idea. And the top ones here are, again, are those who have a high originality, and that means on those who are difficult to create, you ask yourselves, how are we going to do those ideas? So it's original, we'd really love to do this, but they're really hard to do. So how would we actually ever do this? And the wow ideas are the ones that are very original but easy to create. So these are usually the ones that you would go for first.
Yes, and usually if we do like a one-day ideation day or idea lab, so we give the teams at least an hour or two to think through their favorite ideas. So what is their, what is the unique selling point? What is the rough idea looks like? So we really make them think through the idea. And at the very end of the idea of the day, of course, you have seen it also in the video at the beginning, we make our teams or to encourage our teams to pitch their ideas. Of course, like pitching ideas is very important, not just like for us. In many companies, you know, when you work there, pitching ideas is it's very important. And our pitches last for approximately 3 minutes, and we ask or encourage our teams to be creative while doing a pitch. Here you can see a pitch from a Deutsche Welle Ideation Day, and they actually, you know, brought some cleaning materials by bringing their ideas to the jury. And we ask the participants to, or we recommend the participants to include the following elements into their pitch. So who is your target user, customer? So bring in your persona. What are their needs and wishes you figured out while doing or going through the template of the persona? So what is the name, the rough first title of the idea or the product you'd like to develop? What is the main benefit the person has by using your idea or product? Who is your competitor? You know, I mean, make a rough research on the internet to think, is somebody already doing that? And if so, what can be the unique selling point of the idea? So what makes you different from others, other similar ideas out there? And of course, like that helps you to bring over or to bring across your idea by using those elements during your pitch.
So let's take a look at how do we support the teams to create those ideas. And there's sort of a few items that we'd like to highlight here. So here another photo from our first ideation day we did last year, and you see that we prepare an open space for creativity. So that means we've arranged the tables, we've got the boards there, we have plenty of post-its, we've got the right pens ready, so people can start immediately drawing, writing down, and grouping around their own board here, while being grouped around a table.
Then we would like to invite you to ask open and solution-orientated questions while having a discussion with the team members. So, for example, instead of asking, do you think it is a good idea, ask, why do you think it is a good idea? So always ask questions that make the others think and answer in a longer way than just with yes and no.
The third point, invite teams with different backgrounds. So very important point, build interdisciplinary teams where you have market experts, you have, in our case, journalists and technologists, programmers, who really have a completely different perspective on the idea. And this exchange of those different minds is what creates unexpected results.
Absolutely. Then we said that several times. So during the process where you create ideas, try to create as many ideas as possible. So in this phase, before you go through the selection process, quantity matters. So try not to limit yourself. Put away your judgment for some of the ideas. So just get out whatever is into your mind, no matter if it's might be a good or less good idea. So every idea counts.
Very important is also to say yes and instead of yes but. So what does it mean? It means that if you see other ideas and you want to comment on them, you would focus on the positive and the interesting parts of this, those that can bring you further, and you add your own ideas. So you say, yes, that's a good idea. This point, this part I really like, and I would like, how about adding this extra idea to this? So you're building upon each other when you develop your ideas. What you don't do is criticize people's ideas by saying, yes, but have you thought of this? This doesn't work and all this. So this then limits the creativity.
And of course, like for that, it's very important to actually listen to your team members. So really dive into their idea and try to understand what they're pitching, what is in their mind. And of course, like to build, as Andy said, on the ideas of others. So try to improve the ideas the team has together.
So you remember we asked at the beginning people to create as many ideas as possible and create lots of pieces of paper, which are then sort of selected and reduced again. After opening up, you're reducing to your favorites, the team's favorites, and concentrate on the ideas that you want to pursue. However, you don't throw away the large number of other ideas, you park them. So you select the best, but you park the rest, because this way you can always come back to the old ideas in case that you find later that the originally chosen ideas didn't really lead you into the desired direction. So you park the rest, you keep what you've created.
Absolutely. And of course, that might be difficult for some people, but we think to get out there to pitch or to present your idea and to get feedback as soon as possible is really essential. So maybe you ask a friend or your mentor or a colleague, whatever, pitch your idea and ask, so what do you specifically like on my idea, and what can I maybe improve, and what is the element you do not like about the idea? So get out there, bring out your idea, and maybe you also go on the street and you have like a rough prototype of your idea and then present it to people on the street that might be your customer, your user. So get feedback and then improve, obviously, your idea or the product.
And one thing we learned while doing or planning our sessions is that the classical way to do brainstorming is actually disproven by psychologists to be a good method. So imagine when people say, oh, we're going to brainstorm, they sit around or they stand around the whiteboard and everyone adds ideas and talks at the same time, and they and the team sort of brings ideas together. But actually it turns out this is really not a very good way to collect ideas. Instead, what you do is you give many opportunities for people to work on their own first, and then present the ideas on a platform that gives the same amount of time to everyone. So this is why we had all these post-its, these little pieces of paper where everyone writes down their idea, and then only you present them at the board using the Chow matrix. And why is that? Because we have also extroverted, introverted people. Introverted people tend to be very quiet if everyone is talking at the same time in front of a whiteboard. So you need to give those people who really create very often very good, if not the best ideas, the space to think quietly and put them on paper and then give them the room to present them while nobody else talks. So this is our last tip, 1 to 9, which brings us to the end.
Absolutely. And as we said, we just gave you like some of our methods we like to use, and you are very welcome to try them out to find out if they work for you, or maybe you also have other methods or techniques you use during your creativity process. And that's the end of our presentation. So we are very welcome to answer your questions now. Can you hear us still, or do you have any questions? There are some minutes left, I guess, in this slot.
Hi, Angela. Thank you so much, Andy, for your experience and knowledges. And of course, we have several questions for you. Are you ready to answer?
Definitely.
Okay, so question number 1. Can I create augmented reality by myself or without any team, and how much will it cost?
Wow, that is like a complex question. Andy, please feel free to jump in at any time. So, of course, I mean, as Andy said in the film, so we did like 3 projects. We hope that one augmented reality project is coming alive in autumn this year. So we need to do like some more technical experimentation and implementation on this in this stage. Of course, like as it is like a new technology, it's not super, I mean, it's not, it costs money, let's so to speak, right? I can't really tell you how much, it depends on the project, but you of course like need a designer, you need like a developer, of course like the infrastructure, you have to think on which kind of, or what kind of technique your user has. So that would be like my rough answer. So it depends on how complex you are going to do it. So Andy, what is your what would you add?
What we found is that that's actually the most commonly used augmented reality platform is face filters used at Facebook and Instagram. So this is sort of one part, one kind of augmented reality that really people use a lot. And the tools to create those are surprisingly simple. It's actually a free application you can download. It's called a Spark Studio from Facebook page. And if you look at that, there are plenty of examples and tutorials on how to create these augmented reality experiences, face filters especially, so everything attaches to face and that follows your eye movement and all that. And you don't actually necessarily need to code for that. You can just connect blocks to each other and you know, route signals around to create those. So my suggestion would actually be to look at that if you want to get started on augmented reality. The other bit is if you've got Apple technology and an iPad or iPhones, there is an application called Reality Composer, which is also free to download, and that is a great application to create augmented reality experiences. So you can put objects into the vicinity around you, you can interact with them, you can move things around. So these are the 2 tips we would give, both free, doesn't cost anything, and gives you a great start into augmented reality.
cool, guys. Actually, I think that you should follow our Telegram account, as there will be all the news about next conferences, and I'm sure that we will be really very happy to see Andy and Andre again, and we'll have more profound, perhaps, possibility to talk about augmented reality. So, next question: how to distinguish the idea that will be different from others? I understand it like this. There are millions of ideas. How to understand, how to choose the best and realize that your idea is better than ideas of other people?
So as we said in the presentation, you might find that out later at the very end, that that another idea might be better for your solution, and then you iterate, you come back, and then you do the process again. So, and by using the matrix Andy presented to you, you go away from just like a rough gut feeling. Oh, I think my idea is the best one, or the idea of my colleague is the best one, by looking to the originality and the feasibility. So that helps you better understand which idea might be better than another idea, and what idea might be more realistic in that terms to develop them now. So of course it's a very tough question, and you would probably figure out at the very end of the process, when you get feedback from your real customers, if that idea is a promising idea.
Mm-hmm. Critical thinking is really very important. So perhaps you can give us several tips about how to distinguish good idea.
Criteria. So I would say it depends on your actually challenge, right? I mean, I would say, is it like, you always have to make research during the process and figure out, is there like a similar idea out there? Is there, how difficult would it to actually to build the idea? I would look to those criteria. Is it like, can you actually build the idea? So, and is there something you would add on, like when it comes to more criteria to distinguish ideas?
There's no guarantee that you choose the right idea when you select through the ideas. It's really, in a way, up to the team that you assemble to agree on this. This is the most important one. The team amongst themselves, through discussion, agree on the idea they want to pursue, given all the information they have. There will always be information that they don't have, but you need to do the best given the current situation, and accept that at the end you find an idea that you all agreed on that doesn't work, and that actually brings up an interesting point about the difference between creativity and innovation, was where you can say that creativity is finding solutions to an idea, but it becomes an innovation as soon as you find that the idea is actually working. And how do you find that out? You can't really find that out through discussion. You have to do it through testing. So this is what we were saying earlier. The idea is developed, you build a prototype, you do the testing, and only then you can really know for sure whether it works or not. And often enough, it doesn't work, and that's absolutely part of the process. You then go back and go, as we said, select the best, park the rest. You go back to your old ideas and find the ones that are possibly better, given the new knowledge you have collected in between.
We also can't deny that there are confident people and shy people, but the thing that you should do is create ideas, analyze them, check them with the others, and perhaps believe that everything will be fine. So one more question. Can you please repeat the algorithm of creating and use super idea?
I'm sorry, I did not understand correctly.
Can you repeat the algorithm of creating and use super idea?
And is there something you can say?
I mean, we can briefly go back to the points we did here, which was really, first of all, opening up So the creativity methods, the first thing is you actually agree on what the actual question is, and then you open up by, sorry, that's the wrong way. You open up by, actually you agree, first of all, on the what do you want to talk about, second, who do you want to target, and then it's all about opening up. So this is actually a process called double diamond. And that's, if you Google double diamond method, you find actually what's behind this. It means that you have got two diamonds. In the first one, you're opening up your brain to as many ideas as possible. This is the three techniques we taught you here: brain dumping, what would Google do, and trigger pictures. All of them collect as much as possible. You open up your mind. You try to get everything out of each mind, and then you're reducing again. So think about the diamond. You're now at the largest part of the diamond, and now you're closing again. The diamond gets smaller again. And you do the voting, but you agree on small ideas. And you can actually do this twice. One is for the ideas, and usually if you do it really correctly, you do it also before creating the ideas, you actually do the diamond process as well to find the persona and actually define the challenge that this persona is faced with, so that you can then have a good ground to find the ideas. So again, for this process of finding a persona and finding the right idea, the right challenge, you're opening up by observing the environment of a person inside the challenge that you've set yourself, and then decide, okay, so we've got lots of people who are affected by this challenge, but in fact we are choosing this person. So you're closing again, you're choosing one person. This is your persona that you do. So it's two diamonds that you go through. Maybe that's the best way to memorize the process as an argument.
And as you said, like search for it, and then you might understand it more, with the double diamond. But yeah, that's a good summarization, I would say.
Thank you so much. Actually, I will definitely use your now, how, wow, ciao thing. It's really great. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon during our next conference. So best regards from Kiev, and bye.
Thank you so much. Have a great conference.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ну що ж, друзі, ми рухаємося далі, і просто зараз у нас...
Well, friends, so we are moving on, and right now we are going to have our new speaker who knows everything about the secret about creating new stories, Stas Medvedev, about creating